Hi, everybody. Andy Giacomazzi with you again for another edition of Academics Talking Academics in virtual elevators, where we take that classic elevator pitch to a whole new level. I think that's pretty clever. Today, in the virtual elevator is Dr. Stephen Utych, and Dr. Utych is our PhD director in the School of Public Service. He received his PhD in political science from Vanderbilt University and his bachelor's in public policy from Georgia Tech. Dr. Utych's research examines political psychology, political behavior, and political communication broadly, both within the context of American and comparative politics. His work has been published in some of the most prestigious journals in his field as well. And in addition to his director role, his role as a researcher and professor of political science, Dr. Utych also runs the School of Public Service Virtual Experimental Lab. Welcome into the elevator, Dr. Steve Utych.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. Thanks for being with us. First things first, what floor would you like to go in our virtual elevator?
How many floors do we have in this elevator?
Oh, it's we are in downtown Manhattan right now, so you can go all the way up to 188.
Let's go with 76.
76 is a good number, and that'll take us a little bit, which will allow us to get through a couple of questions with you. Steve, again, thanks for being here. First of all, I'm confused. You have a background at Georgia Tech, so let me ask you, what is the actual mascot of Georgia Tech? I've heard Yellow Jackets, I've heard the Buzz, I've heard the Ramblin' Wreck.
It's very complicated. Yellow Jackets are the mascot. Buzz is the actual Yellow Jacket anthropomorphic mascot, and the Ramblin' Wreck is the car, which is another mascot. We have, it's Southern schools. We have different, we have all kinds of mascots there.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 at least for Georgia Tech. I love it. Let's get to the point, though. Tell us a little bit about your experiences as PhD director for our doctorate in public policy and administration. What do you do in that role?
Yeah, so a lot of this is kind of in the weeds stuff, but as PhD director, I see myself as the advocate for our PhD students. I'm someone who is there to make sure they're successful, to make sure that they feel that they have everything they need to get through the process as easily and as seamlessly as they can. So I'm there as someone who's there to be the first line of defense for students, right? They have questions, they have concerns, they come and ask me. And there are a lot of concerns because graduate school is a kind of tricky thing to navigate. And a lot of students that we have are, when they're very new to it, they have a lot of questions, and I'm the person who's there to help.
That's a huge role as PhD director, especially in that role of really watching out for and being an advocate for students who, are learning, I think, how much they don't know in a PhD program, at first at least. In the School of Public Service, we call ourselves sometimes the School of Problem Solving. What kind of problems are your students and maybe some faculty working on these days?
Yeah, that's kind of what we do as a policy administration program, right? We're here to solve real and important policy problems. And our students and faculty are working on some of the biggest problems facing United States these days, right? Working on things like natural resource use and climate change, working on things like education policy. Working on all of these big issues, right? We have students who, especially now, and some of our faculty who are working on policy responses to COVID-19 and the consequences of that and things we can do about pandemics in the future, right? Our students and faculty have been really adaptable in what they do, and we're working on, I like to think of policy and administration is a field that works on solving the big problems that we're facing, and we're getting there. We're doing, I think our students and faculty are doing an awesome job.
I think that's a great example, actually several great examples of how nimble we are in the school and how relevant and innovative and engaged we are in timely topics. Tell us a little bit about how the PhD specifically might benefit the people of Idaho.
Yeah, I think one thing that benefits the people of Idaho is that this PhD program, outside of the research we do, which I think is really relevant. A lot of our students work with the Idaho Policy Institute in order to answer important questions related to policy in Idaho. Also, another big factor is it's great for the state to have a successful, strong PhD program in policy administration or in the social sciences generally. We're not a state that has a ton of universities and not a state that has a ton of different PhD programs. And I think having a place that benefits Idaho and does research on questions relevant to both the United States and Idaho specifically is super, really, really cool for the state.
Relatedly, I know that not all of our PhD students who graduate go on to become professors. What other fields do they get into usually?
Yeah, man, I think it opens up fields. This PhD opens up a lot of opportunities. We see a ton of people working in both the private and public sector, right? We see people working as high level researchers in government, state governments especially. We also see people working for non-governmental and advocacy organizations, nonprofit organizations. And we see people working in the private sector for businesses as policy experts, right? People who handle those direct policy problems. Because policy is a problem that nearly everyone faces, right? Every business has to engage with policy, and our students come in and do a lot to do that.
I would imagine then that Boise is a great place to study public policy.
Yeah, absolutely. As a city, it's a great opportunity being the state capital, things like that. And I will say, as a university, Boise State in particular is a great place to study public policy. We have awesome faculty. We have people answering a diverse array of questions, and we have really great students. So it's an awesome place to come. Both the city itself, being the state capital, giving us a lot of ways to study environmental education policy, but also with our great faculty and our great students do an awesome job of training our students and preparing them to be super successful once they graduate.
And another advantage of Boise State, we only have one mascot, not the Yellow Jackets, not the Bugs, not the Ramblin' Wreck, but the Boise State Broncos. Steve, thanks for being with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, appreciate learning a little bit more about our PhD program. Hope you did too. Thank you, Steve Utych, and thank you for watching. Join us next time for another edition of Academics, Talking Academics in Virtual Elevators.